Okay, we bring you warm greetings and welcome you to your channel for good, SAC TV. It is Beyond the Horizon. It's a political talk show that is geared towards unraveling and unearthing all issues related to politics. And so wherever you are and you are doing the monitoring, you are welcome to this particular lovely program on SAC TV. We are the voice to the voiceless, the voice of the people, and it is your channel for good. And today on our Beyond the Horizons, your host, my name is Eric Dinopo, and I'm privileged to have with me here Godfred Amafol. He's a student of the University of Education, Winneba, and then Vera Abrafi. She's also a student of the University of Education, Winneba. Today on our political talk show Beyond the Horizons, we are going to look at an interesting topic that has been out there, and then people are giving their ideas or their views relating to that particular topic. But before we come to our topic for the day, I would like to greet my guests for this very program. Good morning and welcome to this particular show, Beyond the Horizons.
Good morning.
And thanks for joining me today for this particular discussion.
You're welcome, Eric.
All right, so today, interestingly, we are going to look at Professor Frimpong Boateng's arrest. There has been the news out there that this Professor Frimpong Boateng has been arrested by the Office of the Special Prosecutor and granted a bail of 2 million Ghana cedis. Frimpong Boateng, he was the former Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, and he happens to also be the former chairperson for the Interministerial Committee for Small-Scale Mining in Ghana here, and their aim was to fight against Galamsey. So there was this news out there that he came out with a report somewhere in 2021 where he channeled it through the Chief of Staff to the presidency, where he asked them, and then he highlighted some particular government officials that have involved in illegal mining, and then he mentioned names like Lord Kome and then Gabi Ochredako, that there are persons that have involved in illegal mining. He also mentioned our own information minister, Kojo Nkrumah, that he had meetings with some journalists, said that they will try to, sideline his efforts to fight against Galamsey. And it has been out there, and then people trying to, find out actually what has happened. Only for us to hear that somewhere last month, Professor Frimpong Boateng was invited to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and then he was told that he's under arrest based on some particular corruption-related issues when he was the chairperson for the Interministerial Committee for Small-Scale and then Illegal Mining in Ghana here, and then he was granted 2 million Ghana cedis bail. And for some of the reasons for his arrest, they said some 300 million Ghana cedis budgetary. As of the time he was the chairperson, they want to investigate into it. And beside that, whilst they were trying to fight against Galamsey, they seized some excavators. There was news out there that they seized for like about 500 excavators. So they want to find out their whereabouts about those same excavators. And there's some equipment that were given to him, cars and then others, for them to really fight against this particular Galamsey. So they want to investigate into that. After his arrest, there has been a lot of issues. People giving their ideas, their views concerning that. So we can talk of the likes of Dr. Atta Kennedy. He is an MPP member, and then he says Frimpong Boateng's arrest was unfortunate. Why? Because he feels that Frimpong Boateng is a whistleblower, and he trying to, give government some ways as to how to go about the fight of illegal mining, or Galamsey, that is popularly called Galamsey. It's like they've left those he mentioned in his report. Someone like Lord Kome, as Ochredako, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, and others. They have left them, and now he's the one that has been arrested. So he described it as something that is unfortunate, and then he even gave a story to back that. But it's like someone who has gone to the market side, realized that the market is burning. He comes to tell the police and is arrested. Whilst the market keeps burning, illegal mining is ongoing. In his report, in his write-up, he mentioned that our people are drinking from, they are polluting our water, they are cutting down cocoa trees to do illegal mining, they are spoiling our land. Why has the special prosecutor not gone into that aspect to find out which people are involved in this? So he feels that it is rather unfortunate. so he was not supposed to be arrested and then all that. To talk about Franklin Cudjoe, who happens to be the president for Imani Africa, he also said Professor Frimpong Boaten's arrest isn't good. But on the side of the special prosecutor, he's of the view that Professor Frimpong Boaten is not a saint. So he's doing his work and he's fighting for Ghana. They said he should fight against corruption, and that is exactly what he is doing, because our president made mention of the fact that he will sacrifice, or he's put his presidency on the line of fighting Galamsey. So if Frimpong Boaten, Professor Frimpong Boaten, has decided that he's willing to volunteer to fight against Galamsey, people are asking questions. Why has the Office of the Special Prosecutor arrested him instead of going down to find those that he mentioned in his report, to find out whether actually they are into Galamsey, and if they are into Galamsey, how are they going to fight this particular thing? So today on our Beyond the Horizons political talk show, that is what we'll be looking into. But don't forget, if you are doing the monitoring, don't forget to like and subscribe to SAC TV. Like I said, we are the voice to the voiceless and the voice of the people. So they always say men first. I'll get to
ladies first.
Ladies first, rather. But then I will not come to the lady. This time around, the narrative will change. So I'll come to Godfrey for us to give us your view. People are saying his arrest is unfair. Others are saying he's not a saint. He should also be arrested. What do you have to say about this whole issue about Professor Frimpong Boaten's arrest?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. The fight against, let me take it from the fight against the illegal mining, which basically classified as Galamsey. You know, it's something that can be traced way back, you know, some years. It didn't just start, and it has been a canker that the nation has been struggling for years in dealing with it. In fact, when we are to talk about the impact of the illegal mining on Ghana, even in our economy, an environment, it's something that is so telling that we can't continue to live like this. So if anybody, any institution, any government feels like fighting against it, it's in the right direction. You all remember when Nana Addo came into office and he made that bold statement of putting his presidency on the line to fighting this, you know, canker, which the media got the support of the media. And I remember the campaigns, you know, the talk shows, the perspectives from these CSOs, you know, supporting the government. Fast forward, this interministerial committee was set up, chaired by Professor Frimpong Boaten. Now, if you want to fight, let's say, a problem or issue, we start from the head. The Special Office of the Special Prosecutor was also set up in 2018, a year after the government has, you know, made that bold statement to fight the corruption. It started with Martin Amidu, so you thought he was going to bite, looking at the fact that he was coming from the opposition party, NDC, who has some grievances, and we thought that, okay, if this situation has been there for years, past governments, I remember Kufuor, from Rawlings, from Kufuor up to Atta Mills, his pronunciations about Galamsey, down to Mahama, you know, people were chased. These Galamseyers were chased from the forest with guns. You know, armies, the army personnel were chasing them out of the forest. Now, somebody comes into office. His Excellency Nana Addo comes into office. Says that I will fight this to the roots. Uproot this canker from this country and make sure our water bodies are being protected. The future of this country is being protected. Now, Professor Frimpong Boaten comes in. You know he's expert. You know that he's a doctor.
Yes, a surgeon.
It's very good. Yes. And he coming in, I was happy. I was so much happy. Now, to lead the front for the fight against illegal mining. And I've read his reports. You know, he made some statements about the fact that we had weaker institutions, the forestry commissions, they were not willing and ready to fight it, and in fact, they were even part of the problem. He mentioned up to the presidency, office of the president, to even mention Gabi, just as he said. You can imagine the power and the forces behind these people. I am never in support of Galamsey, because, of course, now you can't even buy cassava because you don't have the land to plant, food shortage and whatsoever. So whoever that comes up to fight against it, I'm in support with it. Now, let's talk about his arrest by the special prosecutor. You shouldn't forget that his office as special prosecutor was set up to fight corruption. Now, if you can recall, this man made a statement in the report about money laundering. He wasn't tagged with it. Something very, very sensitive. And I think that needs to be what? Investigated. Anything money laundering is high offense. And it needs to be investigated. Whom are you going to investigate? Whom do you call to investigate? If there was 3 million cedis given you to fight this, whom are you to start with? Now, if you mention anybody in your reports, that's Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, Gabi, Lord Kome, even citing Kweku Bakum of calling him about his move to stop one company, which I think that was at is it Biaso, where Captain Mahama met his untimely death. As at that time when Mahama was in power, that concession was being protected by the military until the MOU was cancelled by this president. Do you get it? Before Mahama died, before Captain Mahama died. So he even cited those things as against Kweku Bakum, a new crusading guide. Now, where do we start from the investigation? Where do we start from? We start from he who alleges. Do you understand? So there was nothing wrong the OSP inviting Professor Frimpong for investigation. Yes, the arrest will be classified as harsh. Why should you arrest him if the person had turned in? You invited him, he came. So why do you arrest him? So let's say the arrest wasn't fair. But if you are talking about transparency and if you want to fight corruption, you shouldn't forget that corruption isn't just about what he tagged as in his reports to be the Galamsey activities. The OSP is also looking beyond the Galamsey activities and looking at the money being given to you. Was it really judiciously used for the activities? Are you getting it? Are you getting what I'm saying? That person writing something about professor, that might not be good. You will not write your own report and paint yourself black. Would you do that? You wouldn't do that. So let's start the investigation from him. And if he comes clean, then we start with the others. I'm not sure the OSP will overlook the names he has mentioned and then try to make life so unbearable for Professor. But his arrest, for me, I condemn the arrest because the person showed up. If you invite me and I show up, why should you go ahead to arrest me? 2 million Ghana cedis bail for what? For what crime? Have you investigated and find out that he did not use the money as it was expected? That is when I think that you can make the arrest. But that's maybe they know the law and they applying the law and know that okay, when you invite somebody you need to arrest them. And OSP isn't the police to make an arrest. Yes. Do you understand? Isn't the police? I think it's the police that has the right to make an arrest. You've arrested him. Are you trying to tell us that they want to, the arrest is based on the fact that they don't want the man to talk? I'm not sure that is the idea of the OSP. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm not coming from his corner. But what I'm saying is that he has every right to investigate Professor Frimpong Boateng, to know how he used the money he was given. When he comes clean, I think he can carry on from where the report started.
Okay, so that means if I get you right, equity comes with clean hands. That means before they will go to interrogate those that you mentioned in your report, then you yourself must be clean.
Exactly.
All right, now that was a nice question there from Godfrey. Vera, I'll come to you for you to give me your idea about this issue. As for Godfrey, he is saying that his arrest, he's against it. It's not fine because in as much as he came willingly, then he was not supposed to be arrested. But he thinks they trying to investigate him when he was given a particular role to play is in the right direction. What do you also think about this whole issue?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I disagree to some extent with him. Okay. I'm not attacking you, but then I'm of the view that it wasn't fair arresting him. But then in your submission, you made mention that they have every right to investigate from him. He made those proposals, I think, 2 years ago. Yes. And till now, what has been done about it? Virtually nothing. There is nothing to show. So if within a month you come back and it's like you call him and the next thing is he's been arrested for a similar issue, I don't think that is fair.
You know, we've had several reports that some governments don't even look at it at all. Now, we are fortunate to have an entity, let's say a body, that is willing to carry or use the reports, which is the OSP. Are you getting it? We've had several reports, several ministerial reports about illegal mining previously before he came. Now, this is a committee, and definitely a committee will have to submit a report. Who ordered for the reports? The chief of staff.
Sure.
And even from the office of the chief of staff, people were calling Professor Frimpong Boateng to halt his activities. That means in the office of the chief of staff, there were people engaging in what? Illegal mining. So yes, but the OSP says that, come first. You just mentioned, come first. Let's investigate you. Let's see you are clean. Everything you have said is genuine. Are you genuine? Then when proven beyond reasonable doubt that this man worked from genuity, then we grab the rest. I'm sure that we are left with, let's say, a year for the end of the tenure of Nana Addo Dankwa. And for me, with the fight against Galamsey, I will give him like 50%.
Why?
Why? Because in the reports, let me use the reports. Prof said they have made some gains despite the challenges. I haven't been on the ground. So let me use the man that was there, Professor's reports. There have been some season of, let's say, these machineries, excavators, chamfine, burning of them, the Operation Vanguard activities, the use of drone in fighting all these things. So let's say collectively they've done something. It got to a point, we saw some restoration when it comes to our river bodies. You could see that they were getting back to their normal state, but it got back into it. It comes back to the fact that there were bigger bodies or some other bigger hands that he couldn't fight. He has stated in the report. He never mentioned them when he was working. He never mentioned them. He never granted an interview saying that government machineries were... Do you understand what I'm saying? Until the report came out. Yes, he indicated that he was saying those things at cabinet meetings and whatsoever. Cabinet meetings, whatever transpired there doesn't come out. The minute doesn't come out, so you don't know what goes on there. Are you getting it? So let's get you clean. Let's make sure that you are first investigated and everything is in the right direction. Then we carry on.
But what Vera is saying is that, like, if the Office of the Special Prosecutor maybe was really willing to fight it, because he gave the report, yes, in 2021, right? And even according to him, the report was not for public consumption. It was just for the presidency. It was not supposed to even come out to the public, right? Good. So that means they even wanted them to handle the issue in-house in a way.
And you know when the OSP comes in, the way the OSP comes in, it becomes like a legal banter.
Now,
And this legal process takes time.
like
it can be like it was given in 2021. You need to study the reports. You just don't start acting on a report.
And when it came out, when the issue came out just this year, Kisi Ajeme made us to understand that the special prosecutor, he made us to understand that they have already commenced investigation in 2022.
Exactly.
So if from 2022 up till this hour,
and
at least we haven't heard anything about it.
What you've
Don't
heard,
you think that
what
it's
you've heard,
show that
okay, you've not heard anything in terms of those he mentioned in the report. Okay, that's why you that made that pronunciation come first. Let's start from you. Don't you understand this?
So in 2022, as stated by the special prosecutor, that they were doing already, there was an investigation ongoing. What have they come out with?
Okay.
Since 2022.
If
So does it really mean that they are not starting the investigation, which they want to now start with Professor from Paul?
That's what I said. I mean, you have to read the report. You need to do your background checks before anything comes out.
It means all that while they were doing
This is a legal issue.
Clearly, at the point he was like, we could see improvements in our water bodies, and then you could see that definitely things were being worked out.
Okay.
If that was it, that means investigations had been done.
Yes.
And that measures had been put in place to solve such issue. But then even as at now, there is nothing to show. And then just last year, something will pop up and you call him to come in, then you'll be like, he's been arrested. You have to get him clean before you can. No, it's not done anywhere. If that is it, then we can say that if I'm not right, if I'm not wrong, then we can say that government has interest or, I mean, something to do with this illegal mining. Because it's been 2 years.
Do you think government is sleeping over it?
Government is sleeping over it. In fact, with cloth covered on its body. You get it? If you have to do something about it and you feel you've started and then at a point we could see improvement in our water bodies, that means there should have been something to show on the table. He mentioned some personalities, and then at least there should have been something that would show that this one is guilty, this one is not guilty, this is where the issue is coming from, this is what we're doing about it, these are the measures that we've put in place to tackle it. But there is nothing like that, and 2 years back now, and you're telling us that we would have to get him clean before we go and tackle that one. I mean, you have just a year for your term of office to... You can't tell us that government definitely would have something to do with this.
You are aware some people are even fighting this in the courts. You are aware of them. Some people are fighting this in the court. Now, when it comes to legal issue, it takes time. You can't just round up everything within a year and start prosecuting people. The prosecutor is to prosecute. And before the prosecution, there must be thorough investigations. That's what I believe. So I'm not sure he has delayed. Okay. I'm not sure the government is sleeping over it, as you said. Sleeping over what? Is it the fight of the Galamsey or the report? Are you getting it? So government takes recommendations. That's why bring your reports. Let's go through. Then we give recommendations for actions to be taken. Do you understand? Now, OSP finds interest in it. Let me come in. What will you say let's say Chief Justice and the Attorney General? What is the Attorney General role? What is he also doing about this? Because he is to take on legal issues or legal matters concerning this whole activities or concerning this whole report. If you have a case of money laundering, if you have a case of people bringing, governments ban the importation of excavators and chamfine. We found them in here. He made mention of what? Minister for transport and whatsoever. That he has alleged him here. Let me say it's alleged because it's not proven. So whose word? What are the other bodies doing? Are we trying to relegate everything to the OSP? He has tried something. At least he has you've seen him making a move. Remember before him, there was an OSP who would never buy it. He was complaining of what? Not having the computers in the office. Now there is someone, Kisi, who is trying to make a move about this report. That means he has interest in fighting it. I'm not sure government is shielding it. OSP is an individual body. Government is an individual body. I'm not sure government instructed the office to do the arrest. Yeah, you have that the how do you call it? you have that freedom, the law concerning that has given you that liberty to operate. Are you getting it?
Okay.
So I've not read, maybe you have read, any interference from government when it comes to the work of the OSP. Martin Amidu made such comments that government was interfering. Has Kisi made any comments about that? So I will never bring in government in here. The moment we draw in government, then the opposition comes in, it becomes political, and the fight becomes so difficult. Are you getting it? Now, is Professor trying to tarnish the image of his own political party? Is he having interest in some positions that he would want to paint others that you'll be competing black?
So, some people allege that it's because they didn't renew his ministerial appointment. Maybe that's why he's trying to do so.
Do you understand? So somebody from that angle, is he right or wrong? So upon the investigation, you know that, oh, okay, this man has no interest in any government position, and what he has written is not to let's say score anything or find trying to settle score between he and anybody that he has issues with.
Okay.
Are you getting it? So because if I have issue with you, I can write something bad about you. It's my report. What do? You have to come and defend it. By the time you defend, your name has been already tarnished.
Okay.
To say that you called the president directly, informing him about Gabby's activities, and the government will say, I will deal with him directly, and up to now you've not heard anything. In the report, it was also stated that Nanado's home or house in Chebi
yes,
is being invaded by Galamsey, and you tell him Nanado is not aware. So nobody resides in the house.
No, was that from the presidential statement?
From the report.
From the report.
Are you
There's
telling
a
me?
garden
No, wait.
at
The
Chebi.
report is coming from who? Professor Frimpong. So is he telling me there's nobody staying in that house that knows that there's something like that?
maybe they all have interest.
Do you know where the call came from? The call came from the presidency that somebody is invading or has invaded. Galamsey has invaded Nanado's garden. Come on. I'm not pinching holes in the report, but think about it.
What shows? You stated an example. If you would want to paint him black, definitely you would give out false accusations, right?
Yeah.
What if the Galamseyers invading Akufado's place and whatever is also a make-up thing from somewhere?
From where? He had the call that he need to move in there before he sent the Operation Vanguard in there. To even when you got there, he didn't state in the report that they made an arrest. He went with excavators to restore the garden. That means the activity had already taken over. And what I'm saying is that you said this in your report, that Nanado didn't even know that his house in Chebi is being invaded by Galamseyers. Nobody in the house gave Nanado that call. And they were bold enough to invade the residence of the president in Chebi. Come on. He needs to be investigated. The claims he has made, he needs to be investigated. We need to be serious with this Galamsey fight. If we sweep under the carpets and try to use scores, we are not getting anywhere. Another committee chair will come, will paint a picture that he will be saint. At the end of the day, you realize that there is some interest in this report. I will never cite Professor. I know that he has worked so hard to reach this level. But if you make that claims, be available to defend them.
Okay. All right, to all those doing the monitoring out there, our conversation is getting more interesting and interesting. This is SAC TV, and it's Beyond the Horizon Political Talk Show that we are bringing your way this very moment. Just like we heard from my guest, they are giving us in-depth analysis about this whole issue. And then, before I let go of you, I want us to look at even Galamsey in general. Can any government fight Galamsey? Let me start with Vera.
The answer is clear. It is absolutely no.
Why?
Since when did we start fighting Galamsey? And what has been the improvement? Has there been any change? has any government been able to come out with something that we would say that now we are safe, our water bodies, our land, everything is safe? No. And it is funny how when people are given the opportunity to do something, you get to know that irrespective of how genuine the person would work, they would get to a point that they would have their own interest in that particular thing. And it's fetching people that much. So what shows other people or other governments that would come on board wouldn't have interest in that. Yes, we might paint a picture that we are fighting against it and blah, blah, blah. Why is that? If I've come and I'm able to put measures and it didn't work, the next government to come on board should be able to also work from there. Okay, so we put these measures and it didn't work for us. So let's take these measures. And it's been long since we started fighting Galamsey. So what shows that people are really working hard to do away with it. That means whenever anybody comes, they would also have their interest and then would want to do something that would be of benefit to them.
Okay.
So I don't think that there can ever be a time that, even if there should be a time that there would be resolutions around this, it would be minimized, not doing away
Entirely.
with it. Yes. So
Okay.
I don't think it would ever work.
All right. So, Godfrey, do you think those who are supposed to fight Galamsey, they are the same people doing it? That is why we can't fight it, or we can fight Galamsey entirely? In our country?
I can sit here and conclude that those fighting are those into the Galamsey. Now, we've been hearing them from afar. No, governments, people that are supposed to fight are into it. And there hasn't been any concrete evidence. Nobody has taken anybody on before, or has there been any report like that? Now that we have a leaked report, an established committee by the president to fight Galamsey, and has come out with a report inciting that government is behind, or some persons in government are behind these illegalities. But Galamsey didn't start now. It started years ago. Even the name, how we came about the name Galamsey, the per history, gather and sell, became Galamsey. So it tells you it's something that started way back. Now, it wasn't an issue then, but issue now because of the population. We all want to feed. We all need money. We need to survive. Standard of living, cost of living. So there's so much pressure on the land that we need to get into water bodies, destroy the water bodies. And we are getting to that stage that if you don't fight it and get it out of our system, it will ruin the nation. We can't take away mining. You shouldn't forget the government is not fighting against mining. They are fighting against the irregular mining, which is the illegal one, the Galamsey. And I think Professor Frimpong said they've trained about 4,000, 5,000 people when it comes with how to do the right thing when it comes to the mining. They brought up the community mine. That means you are not taking away mining. Okay. Those behind the fight against Galamsey and those who are really on the ground doing the Galamsey, you shouldn't forget these concessions cannot be acquired by you and I. Let me use the report. He made mention in the report that one MPP member acquired a concession and he sells the concession to the Chinese for about 2 billion old currency. That's 200,000 Ghana cedis. Can you afford one? You can't. So these big people who have money are buying the lands. If you are to go by the report, then yes, those fighting are those, practicing the illegal mining. So how can you fight your own self? Galamsey is not like a parasite in our blood. It can be taken out. We need to regulate it. Are you getting it? It is a source of means, let's say, funding to somebody. Somebody is living on this or leveraging on this to feed the family. People are making life out of it. So if you try to take it out of the system, it won't work. The people will fight against you. But the good news is that majority of the people of the citizenry are not into Galamsey. There are few people, let's say, in like 1,000 or whatsoever, who are into the Galamsey, who are into these illegal activities. So you can deal with them, regulate it, tell them how to use it, take away the foreigners who do not abide by the regulations, and make the institutions work. In the report, the then forestry commissioner, FEA, Sir John was incited in there. Illegal, felling of trees, which is the deforestation. He mentioned them. They are all part of the activities, destroying our lands and our forests. So, for me, I can't sit here and say they are behind until investigations are proven that yes, those fighting are those doing the same activities. And can we fight this? It's yes or no. Yes, in the sense that when we come together and have the commitment to fight it, we can. Because we are the same people practicing it. So if you want to stop, you can stop. And no, because we don't have that commitment. We are living on the same activities. These activities are also funding the political parties. We should not ignore that. Are you getting it? They are funding the political parties. They are funding the aspirants. So how do we stop it?
And he's not afraid to mention
somebody is
anywhere.
a chairman of a political party somewhere whose business is into illegal mining. He's not afraid to mention.
Are these not the same people that come on board to form the government?
Exactly.
Are they not the same people?
It is.
So you can boldly stand somewhere and say that they have hands in this. Yes.
You are bold, yeah. She's bold to say it.
But
if you have to go with this report,
thank you very
of course,
much for the lovely
government
education that
machinery
you
in
gave
it,
to
and they will try
our
to
viewers
frustrate
out there. I strongly believe
No
that
doubt
our
about
viewers
that.
out there really enjoyed our interaction. If you've enjoyed the interaction, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to SAC TV. It was Beyond the Horizon political talk show that I had here with my guest. Godfred Amaful was here with us, a student of the University of Education, Winneba, and then Vera Afari, she's also a student of the University of Education, Winneba. And for your host, my name is Eric Dinebo. Always stay with us this and every Tuesday at exactly 7 p.m. as we bring your way this very lovely political talk show. And don't forget, like I said, and I'll continue to say it, like, share, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Till we meet again, same time next week. Do have a blessed evening.